do skeptics say about Bitcoin?
Well, first of all, they laugh at Bitcoiners. They think we're crazy, which we kind of are. Let's be honest. But I think it's a really good question, and it's important. And one of the things I appreciate about a lot of people in the Bitcoin community is they take skepticism head on, and they do a lot of what's called steel manning when you're debating people, and that's really finding the best arguments against it and why it won't work, and kind of trying to expose the holes in it. And there's a lot of really bad ones out there. But then there's ones that I think are helpful to really examine. I think one of the most common ones is, what if the government just decides to shut it down? If the U.S. government, if you're in the U.S., this is one that you ask a lot. Is like, if the government just sees the threat that Bitcoin is to its power, won't it just shut it down? And the concern is very real. And the government already actually is trying to do everything that it can to stifle this innovation that it deems a threat. But it's also important to realize that governments are they're parts of the whole puzzle. Like, they have to play the game too. And so governments with the Bitcoin protocol have to be really careful not to overstep and not to breach the potential for individuals to have sovereignty, because that will create competition in other countries. So in other words, let's say the US government gets really aggressive in how it regulates Bitcoiners, or how it taxes it, or how it surveils it. Well, other countries might see that and be like, that's an opportunity, and we're going to become this Bitcoin friendly country and start to try to attract Bitcoiners from the United States. So that's one thing. The other thing is, it's really, it's not like gold, where, the government can issue an executive order like it did not that long ago. I don't remember the year off the top of my head, but where the government literally confiscated people's gold. It's a lot harder.
6102.
Yep.
So order 6102, 1933.
1930. Why don't you take it from there then?
Yeah, I want to come back to your second one that you were just going into about the physicality, I think is where you're going. Mm-hmm. But the government one is the top one that I hear from people too, as far as skeptics of it. And the good thing, because and I see this as a positive development. Bitcoin has been around for 11 years now. And so a lot of the kind of technology arguments, like, you want to talk about kind of software and scaling and just users and managing, your addresses and wallets is hard. That's all there, and that'll be there because all of us have different levels of, comfortability with computers and comfortability with smartphones. But if you're feeling, like that's kind of your barrier, I want you to know that that's a barrier that we can get you over, and that lots of people can help get you over. That does not have to be. There's people that are working every day on making that part better, and so that does not have to be something that keeps you trapped. And because we can talk, a fun thing that we're doing with our store is solving that physical aspect of it too, and so we can talk about that later. But specifically about 6102. Bitcoin can both be physical and digital. And so because it can be digital means that the government cannot issue a 6102 and take the gold back. And so in that sense, society and technology really is moving forward and giving people the ability to hold their wealth and hold their value, outside of the threat of physical seizure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And there's more, obviously. Skeptics have a lot of different questions and concerns about where this thing goes. But let us know which ones you're hearing. We'd love to take it up on a future episode.